every church starts out as a church plant. Today, I have 3 church planters on the podcast. These guys are going to Greenville, North Carolina. One is staying here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and the other is going to Charlotte, North Carolina. We talk about what do you do in the year before your church launches. The answer is you build a launch team, you find an executive pastor, and you raise a ton of money. That's what they talk about on this episode. If you want more episodes like this, please subscribe or like below.
You're listening to Open Bible, Open Life with Pastor Kyle Mercer. At Two Cities, we're passionate about making and mobilizing disciples, and that doesn't end with Sunday. We're here to bring God's word and work into your week so you can be equipped to be sent wherever you go.
Well, guys, I feel a little bit right now like I am in my own answered prayers and the answered prayers of so many in our church. In some ways, I feel kind of like I'm in a dream, okay, sitting here with you guys. When this podcast comes out, the church will now know, okay? It's not been a secret necessarily, but you've told some people privately and personally and been building your teams and telling your families and all that. We told our staff, others. But it's official. All 3 of you guys are no longer going to be here in May. And you are going to move your lives, and you are going to move churches and start churches, and there's just a lot that's going to happen. I don't want to revisit everything that was said in the videos because I know most people who are watching this, they've already seen, oh, you're going to Charlotte and Greenville and Winston. We don't need to introduce ourselves. Well, I want to just dive right in, okay? Because as we're talking, I said to you guys, hey, are you going to be here this Sunday? And you broke my heart and said, no, we're going to be at the summit listening to Pastor J.D. Greer, who I love. But you said the reason is because your church planting cohort begins this weekend. Yes. Okay. This is just going to be popcorn. We're going to go all around. But Seth, we'll start with you, okay? What in the world is a church planting cohort, and what are you doing this weekend?
Yeah, well, we're going out to Raleigh-Durham with the Summit Collab, and we're meeting with a bunch of church planters. They're going to just be sharing a vision and also giving us instruction on how it is that we plant churches. And so the great thing is that we get to meet with other church planters, begin to build that community of guys that we'll hopefully do ministry with for a long time.
Yeah. So you guys are going to head to Raleigh-Durham, and it's going to be the 3 of you. That's from our church, but we're a collaborative, and so there are a bunch of churches in the Summit Collaborative, and each year, not every church, but a lot of the churches go, I think we got a guy, and that's unique. I think we're the only ones that got 3.
I think so.
Just saying. Okay, I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud of our church, and hopefully in the good Apostle Paul way. Okay, so what? So the church planting cohort. How many guys are in this? Do you even know? Like, this is just
10 to 12.
10 to 12. Mm-hmm. We're going to see if 2 guys show up.
I don't know. I quickly counted them.
You quickly counted about 10, about 12. Okay.
Yeah.
And where are these guys going? Do you have some other locations? You don't know yet. So basically,
I know one guy's going to South Africa, Cape Town, South Africa.
It's a little further than you guys.
Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit.
Dude, that's one of the longest. I think Atlanta to Johannesburg has got to be one of the
16 hours I've done it. The worst turbulence of my life was on that flight from Atlanta to Johannesburg, South Africa.
Dude, did I ever tell you the story?
Terrible.
So, R.C. Sproul, the famous guy, he said that he would be on these flights. Ever tell you the story? So he'd be on these flights, and there would be turbulence. And he was with his best friend, James Montgomery Boyce, super famous pastor. They were best friends. James Montgomery Boyce led 10th Pres in downtown Philadelphia, big church. They're on the plane together, and there's a lot of turbulence. And R.C. looks over to James Montgomery Boyce, and he's like, I am so afraid. And Montgomery Boyce goes, what are you afraid of? God is sovereign. And he goes, that's why I'm afraid. Because I know God can do whatever he wants to do, and he owes me nothing. I was like, that's okay. So you got that's a good point. So most of the summit, and God bless the Summit Collab, okay. Most of the Summit Collab is doing things domestically, and even within that, more and more in the Southeast, because that's where they're regionally located. But you're about to. So what's exciting is I'm not doing exactly what you guys are doing. Or I didn't do exactly what you guys are about to do, but I did something similar. So I feel like you guys are all my younger brothers, and I am so excited for you to get to have the college experience, kind of that I had. Yeah. It's like, all right, great, go to your dorm, have fun. And so you are going to be entering a season. Let's talk about the 3. So I'm going to go back. They may be changed. In fact, tell me if these things change, because I want to hear from you guys we don't want to be using old mousetraps. But when I showed up, I can remember I was sitting at the Doubletree hotel, and there were guys from out of town, so they were staying there. I drove over there from Durham, just 20 minutes over to this. It was near the airport. And basically, Mike McDaniel, the leader at the time, said, you have 3 things you need to do. And I appreciate the clarity. And he said, you need to raise a bunch of money. Let's check. Okay. You need to build a launch team, and you need to find an executive pastor. So I don't know what's appropriate to share and what's not appropriate to share, but let's just see what we can talk about. How are y'all doing in those 3 areas? Let's talk. That's what you're going to be, in my opinion. You're going to be doing a lot of other things. You're like, I also got to sell my house, and I also got to, you got to be a husband and a father during the season, and you got to finish well here and all that. But let's just be honest, okay? Especially by January. That is all you're going to be thinking about. Yep. All you're going to be thinking about is, I got to raise this money. I got to find and work with an executive pastor. And honestly, in some ways, most importantly, I need to build this team that's going to go with me. Either they're going to go with me or they're going to meet me, or hopefully both, kind of like our story is. So let's just talk. That could take up a lot of our time. How are you guys doing with that? Let's start with the launch team, because we say that's the most important. Like, where are you guys? I know we're going to be having an interest meeting. What are you doing to build a launch team? And what in the world is a launch team?
I'll kick off. So, I mean, for us, we're open-handed. We've been open-handed the whole time. And so the idea for us is we are really just approaching people who have been in our lives, in our church, around us, and just saying, hey, this is what we're doing. And, we would love for you to consider what it would look like for you to move your family to Greenville, North Carolina with us.
Yes.
And so it starts with that. And then for us, our biggest priority is we are not trying to coerce anyone.
Yeah.
We truly want them to feel called to Greenville for a reason other than just ourselves, just because of our vision. Because, when things get hard, it's you're going to have to fall back on the calling.
Yeah, that's right.
And so we've been very just open-handed of just inviting people. And so right now we have, over 50 invitations.
Yeah.
Very few have been committed, but those that have committed, man, it's been incredible, because they're just they're let's go. What can we do? How can we help? How can we pray? But then also the people who have come back and said, hey, this is not our calling. We don't feel called right now.
Yeah.
What's been super encouraging to me is every single person, truly to this day, it might change, but to this day, every single person has been called back to something,
That's
been called
great.
Back to Winston or wherever they're at. So it's been amazing.
I love that.
Yeah.
What you said, 50 invitations are out there. What is obviously we're doing the public invitation as a church.
Yes.
Here's the video, text 10 to 39808
Yep.
or,
Yep.
How are you inviting? Is it just personal conversations?
Yeah.
Are you gathering people in your home? I mean, how are people? Are you doing it one-on-one? Are you doing it with couples? Give us a little bit of insight on that.
It's a little bit of all of that. I mean, it's it could be just people in our community group. It's one-on-one. It's lunches. It's coffees. It's just in the lobby at church. Just continue to walk through and just talk to people about it. And it is kind of hey, this is what we're doing. And a lot of times people actually approach us. They're hey, we heard you're leaving. We heard you're doing this. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
So people are generally interested on what's going on.
And I think you bring up a good point, and I'm going to ask you something, Spencer, but I think you bring up a good point, Preston, because what I learned this from Campus Outreach, great principle. The process is more important than the decision. Yeah. And we used that for years as a one-liner when we would invite someone to something. Because I think it puts the emphasis on the right thing, and it puts people at ease.
Yeah.
I'm just asking you, we've got a different problem if you're not willing to enter a process. Yeah. But I'm just asking you to enter a process, and I'm going to trust community and the Holy Spirit and the Word of God and wise counsel and your wife. And I actually think you're going to be a better person, different person, more godly person at the end of this process, whether you say stay or go.
Yep.
So, what are you doing? How are you building this team?
It might be easier to say what I'm not doing.
Yeah. You're doing everything that isn't illegal or sinful.
Yeah, that's right. Man, my days are filled with lots of conversations, trying to sort of keep track of all the different people who are interested, all the different relationships I'm trying to cultivate, trying to update and keep updated my launch team that is currently built. A lot of what I'm doing is just what Preston described, meeting up with people, talking with them about the story of the church plant, where things are now, why we're doing what we're doing, what I'm asking them to consider. Mm-hmm. And I love what Preston said just a minute ago, that it has to be a spiritual calling to go.
Yeah.
I've said on numerous occasions in recent months, I don't want any willing victims.
Yeah,
I want a grand total of 0 willing victims.
That's right.
And so I literally told a couple this today, that if you are going to be a part of this, it needs to be because you want to be a part of the mission of God moving forward in this new church planting effort. It cannot be because you think it's just an exciting thing to do or because you enjoy spending time with me. It must be a spiritual call.
Yes.
And so what I'm doing is I'm having these conversations with people, and I'm asking them to consider the exact same question that led to Olivia and I deciding to plant this church, which is, what is the most faithful way for you to steward this particular season of life in view of all the different gifts you have, in view of your life circumstances. And then once we have this conversation, and I ask them to consider the stewardship question, I'm out of it. I mean, I'm available if they want to ask follow-up questions, if they need further clarity and things like that. But this is between these couples, these individuals, and the Lord, and wise counsel around them.
Yeah, of course.
To decide what the most faithful way for them to steward their lives is. And something that we share with couples is we encourage them to take, and I think this is the right amount of time, we encourage them to take 1 to 2 months to prayerfully consider the stewardship question.
Yeah.
And the reason why I think that feels right is because asking someone to pray about this for like 2 weeks, that doesn't feel like long enough to consider a life-changing or life-altering decision. But it's also unkind and unloving to say, hey, between now and July, will you pray about this? That's just exhausting.
Too much time.
And so
they need an
encourage
expiration
people,
date. They need a sunset.
It's like, hey, here's a 1 to 2 month window for you to wrestle with the same question that led to us planting this church.
That's great. You know what's interesting about moving too, and I think we've talked about this before, but this would be good to mention. I had a missionary tell me, I think this is true domestically or internationally. Anywhere you move, everybody's excited for the first 2 weeks. Everybody's frustrated at 2 months, and it's home at 2 years. So I think that's people are going to go through that. I saw that in Winston. You know, it's like, oh, this is neat. Oh, look, there's a Trader Joe's, whatever. You know, and then 2 months in, you're like, I miss this, I miss that. Why? And then even I think domestically closer than 2, probably 1 year in, you're like, this is my new home.
Right.
Maybe 6 months in, this is where I'm living now. So, Seth, what are you doing? Because you're staying here in Winston.
Yeah.
How are you? Because one of the tensions, remind me to come back to this because there's a lot in my mind right now. I want to talk about the tension with you guys. How much time do you spend building something here? And how much time do you spend building something there? You're kind of doing, it is here and there because there's people that are at our church that are going to be with you.
Yes.
And then there's people that are not at our church that are going to be there to help you launch this new thing. So it's Reflect Church. So tell us how you're thinking about that.
Yeah, well, I love what they said earlier, that God is the one who's building the church. And so my job, and what I tell Austin all the time, is for us to pray about what we're doing, but continually say yes to whatever it is that God is leading. The path that we have gone down right now is that we have a path for 2 Cities people, but we are also building a path for people outside of the city.
Yeah.
One of the things that we've done over the last several months, we've been meeting with people in our home who are willing and committed to go to this plant. One of the things that I love about it is that I hear from them, I'm not coming here because of you, but the thing I love to hear the most is that they'll say, Seth, this has been on my mind for the last several months, and just God won't let it leave. Because no matter whether you're leaving or whether you're going or staying, you still have to be called to whatever it is that you're going to do. So that's what we're doing right now. We're just meeting with people. I had early coffee this morning with someone, and then a lunch right before I came here. So we are rocking and rolling. But God is building His church. It's amazing.
Now, when you said people come to you and they say, "This has been on my heart," what are they particularly saying? They've heard what you're doing.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because they've heard what they're doing. So because we both Austin and I are from Winston-Salem, one of the things that we have a huge network, and so people hear about what's going on, and a lot of times it's through the grapevine. They haven't actually talked to either one of us, but then they'll come and say, "Hey, I've heard what's the vision that's been going on, and it's just something that's just sticking with me. I think it resonates with me." And so then we'll meet, share, and a lot of times they're on board.
Now, you're wearing the shirt, Winston-Salem State.
Yes.
Are you doing anything to build any kind of launch team out of that group of people there? At any college? Do you have any gateways access into there?
Into Winston State. So what I've been doing, I've gone on a couple of prayer walks there. I was able to actually meet with someone on staff on the college campus, and so we're starting to build a relationship there as well. So I believe God is opening doors.
Yeah.
So it's going to be good.
I love it. Guys, how are you dealing with the building something here while also needing to eventually build something there? For me, just real quickly, again, I think this is right. I'm kind of looking back. I'm like, is this how it really was? I think I felt like until about January, it was all here. I was telling someone today, I had lunch with somebody, and I said, the first ever interest meeting that we had in December of 2015. We would later plant in September of 2016. And we had it at Carolina University, which is now PIU. But that was the first time we did any type of interest meeting. And then that really, for me, was the launch pad. We had over 100 people show up, kind of crazy, got all their information. And I probably spent January, in some ways, January through July, following up with all of those people and their network of relationships. So how are you guys? Because again, you're talking 3.5 hour drive.
Yeah, about 3 hours.
About an hour drive, but still, that's harder than that. But it's not necessarily it's a day commitment to go down there, or at least you're going to miss a good half of a day. But for you, certainly a day. How are you guys thinking about that?
Go for it.
most of my time right now when I'm talking with people are those in the ecosystem of Two Cities Church.
Yeah, makes
just
sense.
because the average person who's considering going with us, it's going to take them a little bit more time to consider and get their affairs in order here if they're going to make the move.
Makes sense.
Whereas someone who's already in the Charlotte area,
Yeah.
I can have a conversation with them in March,
Yeah,
for
you can,
example.
yeah.
And they can just pray about it through May and then decide to be a part of it, and they don't have to move or anything.
I know, it's great. Hey, I was
And
going
so-
here, and now I'm going there.
That's
or
right.
whatever.
And so I'm much more oriented here in Winston-Salem for now. And then I anticipate as the fall progresses, as spring is here, winter's here, I'm going to be spending more time in Charlotte. But at the same time, I am trying to build some relationships that are key and catalytic in Charlotte. And I'm grateful that there's been a handful of just gracious...
Is that other pastors? Is that what you're going to say?
Yes,
Is that
just
other
some
pastors?
gracious pastors. Pastor
great.
Ronnie Parrott from Christ Community Church, great church in
Heard
the area.
great things about him.
Pastor Ryan Epley of West Cabarrus Church, and so many pastors have been welcoming to us already. And so I'm just really trying to get down there from time to time, learn from these guys, learn about the culture, learn about their church, try to see things they're doing. And it's been a lot of fun so far.
How about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar. I mean, we are a little further away. I mean, definitely connecting with the other pastors. It's been amazing to speak with them and just say, hey, look, we're coming to partner with you. Like,
Yeah, you mentioned that in your video.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, we were truly, that is the heart of it. Like, I'm not a territorial guy. It's like, we're on the same team, man.
Yeah.
Let's get after this together for the gospel. But for us, for the people, to the point Spencer's making, like, really the people here, it's our big focus.
Yeah.
But then it's also like, I have some people who early on have adopted, like, hey, we would like to be a part of your launch team in Greenville. And so it's like, I'm basically tasking them with, hey, what would it look like for you to go tell other people?
Yeah.
To bring other people to me, to deploy other people in the city now. And then my strategy probably in the next month or two is to be in Greenville at least once a month.
Yeah.
Get up on an early Thursday morning, drive down, have
Be there all
coffees,
day. Yep,
be
I
there
did
all day
that.
and then
Yep.
just drive back.
That's good.
We'll see. I mean, it could change, but I mean, my heart's like already going there, man. I want to be there every day if I could.
Yeah, I know-
but
I know that feeling.
the people that are in our church are here. And so we're spending a lot of time here just developing relationships.
Okay, plans for your launch team in the sense of what are some of the things that you're going to be doing to get them ready? Obviously, they've got to get themselves ready, sell their house. But like, are you guys thinking that you're going to start gathering in some kind of capacity? You don't have to have final plans right now. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just like, what are some things you're thinking as you head into this year? And because I know that feeling, I'm thinking more of the Two Cities people, and they pray and they have the conversation, and it takes them a month, and they come to you and make this up October 1st, and they say, we're in.
Yeah.
Well, one of the problems with that is they're not moving for 7 months.
Yeah.
So what are you to use it as an expression? How are you going to try to keep their seat warm as they're getting ready?
Yeah, so a few things we have lined up for the fall is, in addition to the interest meeting, which is going to be, all of our interest meetings are going to be on Sunday, September 20th after the 11 a.m. service here at our Winston campus. We're going to have, for the Charlotte church plant, we're going to have an interest meeting on Zoom Monday night, September 28th at 8 o'clock, and so that's going to be helpful. And then what we're going to do is for our launch team and those who are interested in being a part of the launch team, we are going to have a vision trip to Charlotte on Saturday, October 24th. And I think Preston's going to have something similar. I'm sure Seth may have something in the works. And so the
That's
vision,
a great idea.
it's going to be a vision trip, and we're hoping to end it with essentially a preview service of what the type of services are going to be like.
Come on.
And so, I'm at the end of the day, it's like, I've shared the story enough. It's like, let's just show people what the service is going to be like.
Yes.
And so that's going to be in October. And then starting in January, we're going to have monthly launch team gatherings. And
In Charlotte?
No, it probably, we might, the first one or two might
Okay.
start in Winston, but it's going to migrate towards
Okay.
Charlotte. And those will be very similar to our all staff meetings here, devotion,
Yes.
development details.
Yeah.
And then as far as this fall, for those who are on the launch team, we're going to have informal gatherings about once a month just to
That's
spend
great.
time together.
People in your
and
house, that
connect.
kind of stuff. That's
Yeah.
great. That's
Yeah.
great. How about you guys?
I mean,
Anything?
heavy personal follow-up, that's for sure. But yeah, in November. So there's a Friday night football game at ECU. So ECU's
Yeah.
playing South Florida. It's on a Friday night. It's like, man, let's go see what that's all about. Because it's like a holiday at Greenville. Whenever
Oh,
the
dude,
football
that's
team,
a great
Yeah.
idea. I
Yeah.
love how you're thinking.
Yeah, so November 6th through 8th is going to be our vision trip. That's going to be, they can choose to be there for one night or 2 nights, because I'd love to go to one of the, like Integrity Church. That's one of the Summit collaborative
Yeah.
churches.
Yeah.
Maybe go there on a Sunday if people want to stay, if they can afford to be there for 2 nights and
I
things
love
like
it.
that. So that's like the next step after the interest meeting, is to be just to come together, see Greenville, because Greenville is a smaller city.
Yeah.
It's not a tiny city. It's 100,000 people, but it's
Yeah,
still,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
smaller than Winston. It's smaller than Charlotte.
Yeah.
So like, you want to see like, hey, can my family thrive here?
I love it,
And
dude.
the football team, it's obviously, there's so much energy around football at ECU. So
Oh, I
can't
love
wait.
it, dude.
Yeah, man.
I sense the energy in the video.
Yeah.
I mean, the different restaurants and bars, and then
Oh, yeah.
the ECU shots and different
Yeah.
things. How about you?
Yeah. So we're actually going to, after the interest meeting, we're going to have a vision party for the city October the 3rd. And so then that'll be a good time to share vision, and as well as pour into our team. teammates as well. Then in December, we're going to do a Christmas party as well. So we have these
I like it.
events.
I need to add a party.
You gotta have a party.
Are we invited to this party?
People aren't busy enough already that season. Come on.
You gotta add a party. But yeah,
And he's doing a short-term mission trip. What are you guys?
Tell us your ways. man.
That's it. No, it's good. But essentially, basically on an every other month basis, we have something going on where we're engaging our current launch team, and then we're trying to invite others as well.
That's good. That's good. I mean, I've told you guys this. I think the launch team season, it's so much about building community and culture and celebrating and casting vision. It's less about content. I mean, it's going to be great. Have some good plumb lines and give some good talks. But I think in general, people are like, they want to get to know one another. They want to hear that you're winning. Yeah. They want to hear, oh, we got 3 new people here and they just joined and they just put their house on the market and whatever it is. And so that's what's really, if you can do that with your team, they're just going to continue to go like, this is so exciting. It's the front lines. I mean, I can still, you just enjoy this season because, I got to personally interview every person on our launch team. Every person. There was not one person that I did not have the entire conversation with and read all of their application. And, unfortunately, there's a lot of people in our church right now I don't know. And that's been true since we were first in Northwest Boulevard, if not before that. So enjoy this sweet season. You'll be so many memories. And I still will see people. And it's still genuinely, it's how like you see someone, you're like, okay, that's a, male. Or then you see their age. Kind of, it's hard. Like, what do you see first? Like, well, I'm serious. Top 5 thing I see in somebody was if they were on our launch team. Like, I see the Poplins differently every time I see them, and that's really special. And that's what you guys are going to get to experience. Okay, let's talk about on your launch team. There's a special person. Yes, your wife, but outside of that special person and your kids is a executive pastor. Now, there are many different ways to do this, just to be super clear with anybody listening. And if church planners are listening, I think the second thing that we learned, my second session, it's going to be totally different for you guys because Mike isn't leading anymore, is what type of XP do you need? Yeah. And he even drew like a whole thing of like, there's a certain kind of person that doesn't even need an XP because they want to be so involved and invested. They need a second teacher and they need whatever. But And you can have a director of operations. You can do a lot of different things. Right. Seth, let's start with you because from the beginning, you were like, I know who I'm doing this with.
Yes.
I mean, tell us about this friendship because so much of it's different. Not every XP-LP relationship will be like this, but part of the secret of our church, if there's any secret sauces, is I think part of the reason that it's so relational is that Dave and I have been friends since we've known each other since 3rd grade, been friends since 10th grade. We're both extreme extroverts, never met a stranger, love everybody, and so that just. I can't teach that. That just pervaded our team. So the XP-LP relationship will shape your church. It's just how it's going to shape it. And so tell us about Austin.
Yeah, tell
us who he is. We know him. He's been on the podcast, but just let us all know.
Yeah. He's the director of Mercy here at 2 Cities, and it's not every day that you get to plant with your best friend. Yeah. So it's going to be great.
So you would say Austin is your best friend?
Austin is my best friend.
Does he know this?
He will know. No, he knows.
He does now. When he say that, we'll have him on the podcast and ask him. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But it's funny. We're so similar. We joke about it all the time because we both go by our middle names. Most people don't know that my first name's not Seth. It's Gregory, actually. He goes by his middle name. We're both born in the month of March. We love the same things. It's really awesome. But the cool thing about it is that God was already building this, even pre-fellowship. We had some talks before the fellowship came about. And the good thing is that we were able to, because of the friendship, we're able to kind of just be open and honest with each other, which is something that you really need because there are going to be some hard conversations that you have to have and just have some things in line. And one of the things that we even went back and forth with at the very beginning was, okay, are you more of a lead pastor? Are you more of an executive pastor? These kind of conversations. We had all of that already hashed out before the fellowship began. Okay. So it's a beautiful thing. And I also know if there's anything that he has to say to me or he's trying to help in some kind of way, I know he has my best interest in mind.
That's good to know.
As a best friend. It's amazing.
Yeah, they say the ideal XP is somebody that you could hand your social security number to and a list of your fears and you would not be worried about it. Know? So it's like Dave just has my, he has my social security number. If he needs to plug it in somewhere, he's got my airline this and my, he's got it all. Spencer, you are working as hard as you possibly can on building a launch team. Well, at the exact same time, you would hope and pray, and you will have one, to hope and pray to have an XP. How are you in this season thinking about what you need? You hear about a lifelong, well, not lifelong maybe, but very long friendship, best friends here, kind of serendipitously, or we would say more biblically, providentially, just like that unity that comes together. How are you even thinking about an XP right now? Can you let us into your brain trust?
Of course. I mean, well, speaking of the word trust, I'm looking for someone that will allow for a lot of trust in the relationship, of course. You know, we say here often that things move at the speed of trust. Very much would love someone with a decent amount of ministry experience full time. I just think that would be helpful for lots of different reasons. And then I was talking with someone within the last week or two who said that it's really valuable if your XP can move with speed at things you're not good at or things that you shouldn't necessarily be doing. I can remember talking with Pastor Dave a couple months ago, and he told me that when you guys were planting this church, that at some point you guys had a conversation, and this may be an oversimplification, but he said something like this to you: you need to preach and cast vision. I'm going to take care of everything else.
That's I don't remember that exact moment, but
that's what he told me. And as Pastor Dave said that, I was like, that sounds like a pretty good arrangement.
I think that's very, very true. There was times where, I mean, I was just telling someone the other day, I mean, Dave and Leslie would come over our house every Sunday night, because they didn't have kids yet. We had little kids, put the kids to bed. They'd come over after our two evening services, and I'm telling you, 45 out of 52 Sundays for 2 years. And we would hang out and we would talk about everything. And then Dave would go home and he would cut the video clips and get the sermon. You know, I'd go to bed. And because I'd preached a couple times, and he would go home and he'd start cutting the video clips and he'd start working on some more things. And Dave was, you know, he started our website. He started our comms. And some of this stuff, a lot of it, because he's very competent, he was just good at. But then there was like, I just need to learn this area. And he valued, I do think it is very important for the executive pastor to value the teaching, preaching, vision casting ministry of the senior leader and free him up as much as possible. Although, you know, you'll still be in a lot of the weeds early on.
Well, I can remember in the fall of 2016, or maybe it was early 2017, I was recording a video that was going to be played during one of our services here at Two Cities. And guess who came to record the video? Pastor Dave did. And so he had a bag with some lighting equipment, some video equipment, brought it up to the second floor of Goler in the sanctuary, set it all up in about 30 minutes, recorded the video, and then my understanding is that he took the video home and he edited the video.
He did.
He clipped the video. I'm sure he uploaded it to you.
This is before multiple video staff.
Now, if you look at the video now, you're like, okay, the lighting on this, okay.
Come on,
this was clearly a church plant video. But I can just remember it was like, okay, this is what you do when you're an executive pastor of a church of 300, 400, 500 people. As you know, we don't have a video team. It's Dave.
I will say this. I think this is absolutely true as I think about it right now. Yet Dave's job, or you could say it this way, the XP's job will change way more than the LP's job across time. You know, my job has definitely changed, but I might have the most similar job of anybody who started here. It's like, I'm still preaching. I'm still casting. I mean, I'm still leading the staff. I'm still developing the elders. Those kind of 5 or 6 big buckets that I've had, they look different. They feel weightier, but Dave's job would be completely different. Caleb's job would be completely different. And so you need an XP. I mean, they're not unicorns. Right. You know, they're not mythical creatures. But ideally, that can grow with the organization. And I would say there's high trust, high speed, ability to learn new things quickly. You know, very important.
I mean, I think just for everybody listening, it's like the lead pastor is going to cast the vision. That's the number one role. And then the executive pastor is going to put feet to it. Whatever that takes.
And another thing that reminds me of is, and I know Pastor David would completely agree with this. I think he may be the first person that I heard say this. He would actually say the number one character quality that you want in an executive pastor is somebody who does not want to be a lead pastor. And that kind of gets into the, I'll serve, how can I help? That's not my calling. You do the teaching. You're the front person. You're the vision caster. Because a lot of old churches were built on a compete, not complement model. So you think, I'm not picking on any, but First Baptist, middle of nowhere, whatever it is. you have a senior pastor with a senior associate pastor with an associate pastor with an assistant pastor, all of them hoping the other guy leaves so that they can get promoted. And everybody kind of wants to do the same thing. And I think one of the secrets of another secret sauce for our staff is nobody wants anybody else's job. Everybody feels like they're in their lane and everybody's rooting for everybody else. And that starts with the XP-LP relationship. And then the XP is just a huge advocate for the LP. Publicly and privately, and vice versa. It works both ways. So, anything else about XPs? You guys, I'm sure, are talking a ton. I think there's I will say, as an LP, having a trustworthy, competent XP, it just puts steel in your spine. It's somebody else that's behind you. Even if you're the only one preaching, you just know, we sat in a room, we talked about this. This is where our church is headed. This is what we believe in. Or someone leaves your launch team. Or who knows, all the terrible things that happen. You just kind of go, well, it's like a marriage. Well, we're still here together. We're still doing this. Nothing changes here. So, all right, last component. There is and we can revisit any of these as we close, but there's the financial raising, which again, a lot of finances will come from the people on your launch team. I mean, I you guys have heard me say this before, but most people think if I had more money, I would do more ministry. And there's probably some truth to that. I mean, give me $20 million for a church. I got plenty to do. But I actually think genuinely the heart posture that really works in the kingdom principle is the more ministry you do, the more God works in people's hearts, and one of their responses is generosity. And so I found in our launch team, we began to really have a generous launch team and really began to be self-sustaining when we started to minister to our own launch team. I remember Dave saying, we got the camera, and it was the summer, and he said, we needed to shoot some videos because we were meeting once a month or twice a month, whatever it was, but we can get content to them to keep us connected to them, to help them as they're transitioning and moving here and all those other kind of things. How are you thinking about raising a lot of money? I mean, how is that? Just bring us in, because I'm trying to, the average person is looking at what you're doing. They're like, all right, so you're moving, and then you're raising up a bunch of people to move, and then you're finding a right-hand man to do this with, but then there is a financial component to what we're doing. Anybody who, the church is not a business, but you can understand what I'm saying. You're going to need a building. You're going to need payroll. You're going to need health insurance. You're going to want to spend some money doing ministry. You're going to want to have something that looks like a youth group. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's going to cost money. So how are you guys thinking about the financial piece of your church? I know it's early, so not trying to put you on the spot, but maybe you said, hey, I'm not really thinking that quite yet. I'm working on some other things, but in the summit with their church planning cohort will help you. But how are you guys thinking about that?
I think there's a lot to it. The main thing that I'm focusing on right now is building the largest launch team possible. Yeah. Because of the fact that you're talking about that internal giving. I know that you mentioned about how the money follows the ministry, and I think when I talk about building a launch team, I don't think of them as numbers or this is how much you're going to give. I think about them as gospel partners to be able to help push back darkness. And what I've noticed is that as you can begin to share the vision and they begin to see it grow, they have begun asking, hey, Seth, how can we give to this?
I love it. That's where the heart's in. That's good. Yeah. That's really good.
Yeah. You guys it goes down to stewardship, like you've talked about with your time, your talent, your treasure. I mean, it truly is stewardship. Everything. I would not say anything different than you just said, but also for us, it's key partnerships. Catalytic partnerships with Summit Collaborative, with other, Send and See, other churches, and speaking with other people who have gone before us to plant the church, because of all people, they understand it more than anybody else would. They know what it takes. They know what you need. They know potentially with the way the economy is continuing to get more expensive. They're like, hey, you're going to need even more than what you think. And so for us, that's part of us meeting with other pastors who just continue to say, hey, we hear your vision. We see your vision. We've lived a similar but maybe different. We're still for the gospel either way. And so really just leaning into those partnerships early on is key for us.
That's key.
One of the things that people ask in a lot of these meetings that I'm having, I'm sure this is true of you guys, is people will ask, how is this church going to be funded?
Oh, yeah.
And absolutely. I normally talk about how there are different buckets. There's some funding will come from churches, partner churches, Two Cities Church, things of that nature. Some funding will come from networks, Send Network, the Summit Collaborative, things like that. And then there's also personal relationships that people have outside of the church, of course, which hopefully will be helpful, at least maybe from a one-time gift perspective. And then hopefully the goal would be, I think that most church plants want to be self-sustaining internally within 3 years. I've shared unashamedly that I would love for us to be self-sustaining internally with our launch team when we plant.
Yeah.
In August of 2027.
That's where we were.
And I know that's atypical. I know 2 cities is fortunate to be able to say that, but that would be a God-sized goal that would be very helpful because, as Preston said, things are so expensive.
They are
so expensive, and we have vision, but we also need provision.
Yes.
And so yeah, we're hopeful, we're prayerful that the Lord is going to, over the next year, bring alongside us financial partners that are going to be able to help us accomplish the vision.
Yeah. Well, I don't know who first said it, but they say there's 2 types of churches. This is oversimplification. There are churches that have more momentum than they have money. And that's always been the history of our church. we know what to do. We know where we're headed. We have more momentum than we have money. Yeah. And I mean that good spiritual momentum. Yeah. And then there are churches that have more money than momentum. Yeah. And the flower fund's got $300,000 in it, and everything's paid off, and and there's lots of churches in between. But trust me, in doing this for 10 years, in my humble opinion, you'd rather have more momentum than money. And people will give to vision, people will give to need. And I would just encourage you guys, and you know this already. I mean, don't be afraid to talk about money. I think the big, be all in, whatever language, you can take our Time Town Treasures obviously not ours. We got it from everybody. For the record, everybody got it from Randy Alcorn. Okay, Randy Alcorn had those categories. I've at times added temple for our bodies. I had a lady come up to me after church one time. She says, "I would encourage you to also add tongue." Because I think that the mouth is unique. I'm like, okay, there's a lot, but you're right. But I think one of the best things that we did was kind of say, hey guys, if you are not all in these areas, then you come to our church when we open, but please don't be on our launch team. Because, and I would say those kind of things, and of course that's easier to say when your church is big and you got a couple services, but I'm just saying I really did. And part of it was this strong relationship with Dave and others where it's like, no, I need to get up here. And I need to say, I remember having a launch team meeting about automated giving. That wasn't the whole meeting, I'm saying. But I remember that's the XPLP relationship. Dave said, I think this is something good to talk about. I think we need to talk about this. I'm like, okay, there's only like 45 people here, and we're going to celebrate a lot of things. But yes, I'm going to ask everyone to sign up for reoccurring giving. Because if I can't talk to the launch team about this so that we could budget, wisely and boldly, who can I talk to about this? And I think, the launch team is not a normal member. Launch team is, whatever, if you want to make it a big L or a little L, it's a leader in your church. They are helping to start your church. And that kind of like not being all in any of those areas, it infects and it gives everybody the freeloader policy. Yep. And it gives everybody else access and permission to be the worst versions of themselves, dude. And so, and then, you don't want to, I don't want to get too deep on this stuff, but you don't want any sin of Achan in your camp. You're like, dude, we've got everybody's all in on these things because otherwise, what are we doing? Anything else about finances? Just want to close the loop on that. Here's the thing. I don't know which Sunday I'm going to say this, but one of the Sundays, and somebody else said this first, but I as JD would say, I quote them once, then I say as I said, then I say as I've always said. Okay, so as I've always said, there are players, there are prayers, and there are payers. It's hard to say that 3 times, but I do think that's true. And hopefully the players are the payers and the prayers too. But we know there's going to be a lot of people in our church that are going to love you guys. And there are going to be people who pray for you guys all the time. I got an email today. This sweet email, I won't go into detail, asked me a theological question. And then it said in the email, I pray for you and your family every day. And I'm like, I think you do. Wow. And so there's going to be people praying for you guys. We're going to continue to pray. Don't want to put a number on it. It's early, but I am hoping for dozens and dozens of people. And then for each of you, I'm saying, I really do. And I will tell you this, being a beneficiary of this from the summit, nothing was more valuable than the people they gave us. Nothing. Nothing. No gift, no 3-year commitment, no video nothing was more valuable than Jordan and Allison Taylor, who are still with us leading this. Nate and Lee, I can just go on the list. The Wolves. There's just so nothing more. We just so much. So God bless you guys. We are going to do everything that we can to be the sending church God wants us to be. Let's end with this, and we'll be done. How can we pray for you guys? One thing. What is a problem, a pressure, or a pain point that you would say, man, just be praying? We might be able to deduce it from this conversation already. you got one chance to say, for both people who are still listening to this podcast, who've made it all the way to the end, it's the same people that will pray for you, okay? So give us one prayer request based on a pain point. Start with you.
Yeah. Well, with the busyness of this season and everything going on and all the decisions being made, genuinely it's for wisdom.
Yeah.
I
James
need
1:5 kind of thing.
Yes. I just need to know what moves need to be made and what needs to be done. And there's a lot going on. So, yeah.
That is wise. I am
Very
seeing your
wise.
wisdom and asking for wisdom. I love it. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many unknowns in this season. I think praying just continuing to have open hands and stronger faith in the unknowns. Where's our building going to be?
Yes.
Who's going to be a part of our launch team? That's just really like praying for like just continuing growth of faith in the unknowns. And in the gray areas.
unknown's scary, man.
Yeah, it is.
My kids were starting school today and going to a new school, and I was talking to them last night, and I was like, the unknown. It's a big biblical theme. Yeah. And it is super exciting and super scary at the same time. Yep. And there's always more unknown. Yep. Always. There's an unknown. I mean, you guys know what I'm saying. It's like, there's a lot of unknown in our church. Yeah. It's super exciting. Yeah. It's also scary. Yeah. How good for you?
It's good. My word is endurance. Similar to what Seth said, it is a very busy time. I'm trying to juggle building this church while at the same time maintaining all of my responsibilities here. And so starting last weekend, so our weekends, as you know, are Friday and Saturday. Yeah. Beginning last weekend, I have something every weekend, either Friday or Saturday or both, between the first weekend of August through the first weekend of October. Wow. And so I actually am grateful to report that I feel great. I'm excited. All these things, I wake up and I'm eager to do these things. But at the same time, I'm trying to maintain health in all the different spheres of my life, which is extremely difficult.
It's hard. It's hard.
Physical health, spiritual health, all these different kinds of health. But endurance, that would be my biggest prayer request. Endurance in this rigorous and strenuous season that is also really exciting. Yeah. So I'm grateful for it. I'm not whining about it, but I'm just grateful for it and aware that it is strenuous.
Great.
Well, and I think if I could add this, I think for all of us, I mean, even for you and your family, it's like, man, our families feel it. They feel it. I mean, in a good way, right? Yeah. They know they're on board, and they know. But I just keep telling everybody, look, the last thing I want to do is plant a church and lose my family along the way.
Yeah, that's right.
And so just continuing for endurance, as you said, for our family, for our kids, because they're seeing, dads working and doing these things. And so being intentional at home and all those things, it's been really a unique season for our family to see this. And it's exciting. I mean, they're super excited. Yeah. But for people to continue just to pray for our wives, pray for our kids, our launch team, things like that.
That's great. Well, guys, here's what's going to happen. You guys are going to plant these churches. It's going to happen. It's just like with the baby years. Okay, it's like the days are long, the years are short, and just remember this: you will look back on this podcast. There will be a 5-year thing, whatever. You'll pull this up on whatever, and you're going to be like, so much that I wasn't even, and I mean this in the best sense of the word, happened. And it was different than I thought. And when I was sitting here, I didn't even know this. And I had no idea here. And I was worried about it. You know all this. But one of the reasons I was excited to shoot this, obviously to bless our church, but also a timepiece for each of us. Yeah. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for tuning in to Open Bible, Open Life with Pastor Kyle Mercer. We'll be back every week with new conversations, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode.